My worry is that too few state-educated kids are getting the opportunity to study creative and vocational subjects, and that's having an impact in terms of their ability to go on to careers in music, in drama, and much more besides. And that has to change. And we've seen a real squeezing out of those creative subjects in recent years in our schools, and parents tell me just how unhappy they are about that. And I'm determined that if we win the election, the next Labour government will turn that around.
How will you do that? I mean, a lot of people would say at the moment, maths isn't doing particularly well. We're seeing levels of reading not where they need to be. Are you going to be squeezing out these subjects in our state schools to make way for the arts? At what expense?
We do need to see high and rising standards in our schools, and that applies to the important subjects of English and maths. Of course it does, absolutely. But alongside that, I want to make sure that our young people have a broad and balanced curriculum, so they do get the opportunity to study subjects such as art and drama and music, which increasingly is not the case. And sadly, it's only parents really at the moment who have got a bit of extra money who might be able to pay for some of those extra activities that their children are getting those opportunities, and too few kids in our state schools are.
But you see, Bridget, I want to know how and why that is. If the arts are being squeezed,
sure.
What are they being squeezed for? What is replacing the arts at school?
Sorry, there's just some very loud and noisy distraction going on in there in the background. What I'm determined to deliver if we win the election is a review of the curriculum to take account of all of those factors. The change that we would make immediately is around one of the accountability measures by which schools are judged, the Progress 8 measure. So at the moment, creative and vocational subjects are not recognised in the way that I think they should be. I would insist that a creative or vocational subject is included up until the age of 16 in the way that schools are judged in those accountability measures. And that would make a difference in terms of opening up access to subjects such as music and art and drama to a much wider range of young people than is the case at the moment. And there are big benefits actually from those subjects in terms of wider academic performance as well. I don't think we should view it as one or the other. I want young people to get a really strong foundation on the basics, but I also want them to find opportunities to love and to enjoy creative and vocational subjects too.
Speaking of squeezing things, just looking at the papers, and it's being reported that if you guys win the election, Starmer wants to reduce some of the power from the broader cabinet down to a gang of 4. You wouldn't be in that gang as Education Secretary. This would be, I believe, Rachel Reeves, Angela Rayner and Pat McFadden. What would be behind trying to streamline power in this way, and how do you know the British public's in favour of it?
This is about how we deliver on our priorities if we win the election right across government. So some of the challenges that we face as a country can't be solved by just one government department alone. They'll need us to work together, and they'll need us to have a really sharp focus on how we deliver on the priorities that we've set out as part of that election. So, for example, where it comes to support for children with special educational needs and disabilities, that's one area that primarily sits within the Department for Education, but where we can't make the progress that we need to see on this unless we work more effectively with colleagues in health too, and in much more areas besides. So it's about how we work together to drive the change that we want to see for our country.
Bridget, it's interesting you talking about arts and performance, because I see them as very general, as not just specific subjects. I do think if you're trained in drama or performance, singing or anything like that, I think it helps you in everyday life. It helps you no matter
doing her interview this morning.
No matter what you do in life. So you going on to be a politician. Was there anything at school that you would hark back to and say that really has helped me?
So I had the opportunity to study the violin at school, which was really important in terms of performance skills, in terms of confidence. And, I really loved it. I loved music. I really enjoyed it. And that did make a big difference to me. I think the other area that I found of real benefit was I took part in a Saturday morning drama class at a local community centre. I was quite a shy kid when I was growing up, and that gave me the opportunity to perform in front of lots of people. It gave me a confidence around public speaking, working with others, and I want those opportunities for all of our children and young people. I think it's incredibly important that they get those range of opportunities. For some, they'll go into careers in those fields, and that's fantastic. For others, as you say, it's about making sure they've got those skills, those abilities, and also just an enjoyment really, and a love that comes from finding something that you really find fascinating and that you enjoy.
We're sitting discussing in studio here whether acting, for instance, and looking back at the Oscars last night, whether acting has become too politicised, and we say that 94% of children go to a state school, but just 60% of those children become actors, directors, musicians, etc. Do you think there is a case for the undue politicisation of the performing arts?
I think in a free and open society, people, including those who win awards and who have a public platform, have got the right to say what they believe, to express their opinions, and that might include political subjects. It might be sometimes where I agree or disagree. But I do think it's important that people have got the right to express a view. I, in terms of what I'm responsible for, want to make sure that we've got a diverse range of people that have those opportunities to win those awards because they've had the chance to study drama, for example. And sadly, that's being squeezed out of state schools, and I think we've got to take action to change that.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Bridget Phillipson there. Thank you. So Hayley, did you take into account what she was saying there in terms of the politicisation of the performing arts, and do you think that the way school is at the moment, that it dictates what we are seeing on our screens?
Well, I used to have a theatre school, Eamon, and so children would come along to the theatre school. And like what you were saying earlier, I think it's so important. It can help you in everyday life with people skills. And I used to think if I'm not even teaching dancing, I'm teaching the kids confidence, getting up in front of their parents, doing stage shows. So I think it is a really important thing that needs to be pushed further forward, for sure. OK, Stephanie, final word to you.
Well, 95% of the films that were featured in the Oscars at the awards last night had a heavy message, and I think a lot of fans now, they're quite intelligent and they expect more from celebrities at award shows like the Oscars. They want them not to just be vacuous and to communicate about what's going on in the world.
Thank you both very much indeed.
Thank you, ladies.